Is anything you're buying outright in this environment?
Yeah. I mean, there are things. I'm not on the phone, though, to talk about it. Well, look, I've always told you that I love Apple. I think Apple is very undervalued. I mean, if you look at it as a company. But I'm not here to push Apple. But I think Apple is going at 9 times earnings.
All right, so Carl Icahn thinks Apple, despite its rough ride lately in the markets, is still a good bet. To Joe Lincoln, who follows the company quite closely, and Luis Rincon, who says that on this, Carl Icahn is wrong. Why do you feel that way, Luis?
Neil, first, thanks for having me. Really, my concern here is how long can this growth be sustained? You know, the old maxim of as goes the iPhone, so does Apple stock, which we've seen in the past, holds true. And, you know, we should be seeing a much bigger increase in Apple stock price right now. And based on these sales figures, which do include China this time around, you know, this new record that they're really started clamoring over, we haven't seen that yet. And I think there is a concern to be had in terms of that growth.
You know, do we know what the numbers were, Joe Lincoln? Because I think the China thing might have been the reason why the stock is under pressure, because last year China wasn't included. Now it's a big factor in the big numbers. Without it, would we see spectacular numbers?
Yeah, probably not. In fact, FDR Capital Markets made some estimate of a few million coming out of China. I can't remember the exact number right now. But what we're looking at from Apple, though, is if you are a bull on Apple, it's because you believe they haven't even gotten started yet. And this is precisely what CEO Tim Cook believes himself. He said it at a conference today in San Francisco that he believes where they are with the phone is actually nothing of what they want to accomplish in the future with a car, with a potential plane he joked about. But Apple plans to go much more strongly in a different kind of consumer direction. But for the medium term, you look at enterprise and the new iPad, you look at the strong sales of phones, the increasing market share in China. Those numbers aren't amazing, but they're very impressive.
But, you know, to your point, Luis, they're evolutionary more than they are revolutionary. This is a company that got to where it was doing revolutionary things, right?
That's absolutely correct. They're, you know, a hit-based company, and while my colleague is correct, there are, you know, sort of saying, oh, we have these upcoming devices or these upcoming products. Those are still a ways out. You know, even their newest sort of white-hot product that they have right now, the Apple Watch, they're not releasing any figures around that, and the other category that they have in their revenue figures is still less than 5% of their overall revenue. So, I mean, what do we go to next? Apple Music? We still have no real numbers around that either. So iPad sales are dwindling. Again, it all goes back to the iPhone. iPhone is king for Apple. And, you know, if they're staking their claim for growth on the Chinese market, well, we're already seeing volatility in the equity markets for China. And overall, the growth forecast for China is expected to slow down. I'm not saying that they won't see growth there, but to be as bullish as we've been talking about, I think there are concerns for that sort of growth specific to the iPhone.
There's no doubt that so much has to be proven, right, by CEO Tim Cook. All of the points that Luis just made are very valid. But the issue is, if you look right now specifically at how the company is doing, it continues to be able to rely on the iPhone. Whether that will sustain itself, we don't know.
We don't know. We don't know. All right.